The morning rush at Riverside Cafe was always chaos. Claire Anderson balanced her daughter Emma on one hip while fumbling with her wallet at the counter. The 28-year-old single mother had exactly $12 left until Friday's paycheck, and she was doing the math in her head. One coffee for her. One juice box for 3-year-old Emma. That left enough for gas to get to her nursing shift at the hospital. The man behind her in line was on his phone, speaking in clipped, frustrated tones. His dark suit looked expensive, his watch even more so. He was maybe 35, with the kind of tired eyes that came from too many sleepless nights. When the barista called for his order, the man reached for his wallet and his face went pale. "I don't have it," he muttered, patting his pockets. "I must have left my wallet in the car after the meeting." The line behind them was growing. People shifted impatiently. The man's phone rang again, and Claire could see the stress tightening his jaw. She made a decision. "I've got it," Claire said quietly, pulling out a $5 bill from her carefully counted money. "What were you ordering?" The man turned to her, surprise flickering across his features. "You don't have to do that." "I know," Claire said with a gentle smile. "But we all have those days." "What would you like?" "Just a black coffee," he said softly. "Thank you, really." Claire paid for his coffee along with her order. The man took the cup, looking like he wanted to say more, but his phone rang again. He nodded gratefully and rushed out. Emma tugged on Claire's blonde ponytail. "Mama, why you give money?" "Because sometimes being kind costs us something, sweetheart. But that's when it matters most." Claire thought nothing more of it as she drove Emma to daycare and headed to the hospital for her 12-hour shift. Single motherhood meant every day was a marathon of responsibilities. Emma's father had left when she was pregnant, and Claire had been running on determination and coffee ever since. The next morning, Claire was making breakfast when she heard it. A deep, rhythmic thumping that grew louder and louder. Emma pressed her face against the kitchen window. "Mama! Big Bird!" Claire looked out and felt her heart stop. A helicopter was descending onto the grassy field beside their small rental house. Neighbors emerged from their homes, staring. "What in the world?" Claire whispered. The helicopter landed, and a man in a dark suit stepped out. Not just any man. The man from the coffee shop. Claire's hands trembled as she opened the front door, still wearing her faded bathrobe. The man walked across her lawn with purposeful strides, carrying a leather folder. "Good morning," he said, his voice calm despite the absurdity of arriving by helicopter. "I'm sorry for the dramatic entrance." "I'm Daniel Harper." The name hit Claire like a wave. Daniel Harper, the founder of Harper Medical Technologies, the billionaire whose innovations had revolutionized healthcare equipment. She'd read about him in medical journals. "I don't understand," Claire stammered. "Yesterday you bought me a coffee," Daniel said. "You had maybe $15 in your hand and you spent 5 of them on a stranger. I saw the hospital badge on your bag. I saw how carefully you counted your money." Claire felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment. "It was just coffee." "No," Daniel said gently. "It was kindness when it cost you something. Do you know what day yesterday was for me?" Claire shook her head. "It was the anniversary of my wife's death. 3 years. I'd spent the morning at her grave, then had a meeting with investors. I was so distracted I left my wallet in the car. I was standing in that line feeling like the universe was piling on one more thing." He paused, his voice thick with emotion. "And then you, a complete stranger, showed me grace." Emma peeked out from behind Claire's legs. Daniel's expression softened when he saw the little girl with her light brown pigtails and curious eyes. "Is this your daughter?" "This is Emma," Claire said, smoothing her daughter's hair. "Emma, can you say hello?" "Hello," Emma whispered shyly. Daniel knelt down to Emma's level. "Hello, Emma. You have a very kind mama." He stood and turned back to Claire. "After you left yesterday, I asked the barista if she knew you. She told me you came in twice a week, always ordered the same thing, always counted your money carefully, always tipped even when you barely had enough. So I made some calls." Claire's breath caught. "What kind of calls?" "I found out you work at County General. Night shifts mostly, so you can be with Emma during the day. You've been a nurse for 4 years. Your supervisor says you're the most compassionate person on staff. You volunteer for the hardest cases because you genuinely care." Tears welled in Claire's eyes. "Why are you telling me this?" Daniel opened the leather folder. 3 years ago, my wife Elizabeth died from complications during surgery. The equipment failed. That's why I started my company, to make sure other families wouldn't lose what I lost. But I've been so focused on the technology that I forgot about the human element. He pulled out papers. I'm building a new children's hospital. State-of-the-art facility, the best equipment in the world. But equipment doesn't heal people. Compassion does. Kindness does. People like you do. I still don't understand what this has to do with a cup of coffee, Claire said, her voice shaking. I want you to be the director of nursing for the pediatric wing. I need someone who leads with heart, who understands what it means to give when it costs you something. The salary is $200,000 a year, full benefits, daycare on site, and a scholarship fund for Emma's education. Claire's knees nearly buckled. That's not possible. That's not real. It's very real, Daniel said. And there's more. I had my assistant do some research. You're renting this house month to month. There's a cottage on the hospital grounds, part of the staff housing program. 3 bedrooms, a yard for Emma. It's yours if you want it. Claire couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Emma tugged on her robe, Mama crying. Happy tears, baby, Claire managed. Very happy tears. Daniel's own eyes were moist. When you bought that coffee, you gave me something I'd lost. Hope. You reminded me that there are still people who help strangers for no reason except it's the right thing to do. You can't put a price on that. I don't know what to say, Claire whispered. Say you'll think about it, Daniel offered. Take your time. The position doesn't start for 3 months while we finish construction. I'll have my assistant send you all the details. He handed her a business card. My direct number is on there. Call me when you decide. And Claire, this isn't charity. This is me recognizing someone exceptional and not wanting to let that slip away. Over the following weeks, Claire visited the hospital site. She met the staff, saw the plans, held the contract in her trembling hands. It was real. All of it. She called Daniel on a Tuesday evening. I'll do it, she said. I'll take the position. She could hear the smile in his voice. You won't regret this. Can I ask you something? Claire said. Why go to all this trouble? You could have just paid me back for the coffee. Daniel was quiet for a moment. The morning Elizabeth died, we'd had an argument about something trivial. I can't even remember what. My last words to her were said in anger. I've spent 3 years trying to make up for that, trying to put kindness back into the world. You showed me it's the small moments that matter, the everyday choices. You didn't know who I was. You just saw someone who needed help. 4 months later, Claire stood in her new office at Harper Children's Hospital. Emma played in the corner with toys from the on-site daycare she'd attend while Claire worked. The view from the window showed gardens designed for healing, play areas for children, a place built on both innovation and heart. Daniel stopped by that first day bringing coffee. Black for me. And I believe you take yours with cream and 2 sugars, he said. Claire laughed. You remembered. I remember everything about that morning, Daniel said. It changed my life. They sat together watching Emma play, and Daniel talked about his plans for the hospital, his dreams for what healthcare could be. Claire shared stories from her nursing years, the patients who'd touched her heart, the reason she'd chosen this difficult, beautiful profession. As months passed, a friendship grew. Daniel became Uncle Daniel to Emma, who adored him. He taught her to fly kites in the hospital gardens and always brought her favorite cookies on Fridays. Claire found herself looking forward to his visits, to their conversations that stretched long after work hours. She noticed how his tired eyes had started to brighten, how his smile came easier. One evening, a year after the helicopter had landed in her yard, Daniel and Claire sat on a bench while Emma chased butterflies nearby. I need to tell you something, Daniel said quietly. That day at the coffee shop, I was at my lowest point. I'd been thinking that maybe the world was just too hard, too cold. And then you proved me wrong with a $5 gesture of grace. He turned to face her. You didn't just save me money, Claire. You reminded me why life is worth living, why there's still beauty in small kindnesses, why tomorrow matters. Claire took his hand. You gave me a chance when I was struggling to keep my head above water. You saw worth in me when I was barely surviving day to day. I saw what was already there, Daniel said. I just gave it room to grow. Emma ran over, demanding they both watch her cartwheel. They laughed and clapped, and in that moment, Claire understood something profound. Kindness is never wasted. Sometimes it comes back to you in ways you could never imagine, and sometimes a small act of compassion plants seeds that grow into something beautiful and unexpected. The coffee cost $5, but its value was beyond measure. If this story warmed your heart, please like and share it with someone who believes in the power of kindness. Subscribe for more stories about hope, second chances, and unexpected blessings. Comment below and tell us about a time when a small act of kindness made a big difference in your life. Your story could inspire someone today.